Would you please silence your cellular devices? And if you have any trouble doing that, I have my grandchildren back there that can help you. Welcome to Enid Woodring Regional Airport. Today we're celebrating the near end of a 2.5-year process to replace our old 1970s vintage terminal with a modern terminal that has a much more efficient layout, better facilities, and hopefully reliable utilities. As I'm sure you can imagine, it's rather difficult to predict when to have these ribbon cutting ceremonies, because a project this complex, there's too many moving parts to actually nail that down. And I kind of suspect by now that you've observed that the project is in fact not complete. You're right, it's not. We're a few weeks away. The business side is virtually complete. The restaurant side needs a couple more weeks, but we'll get there. I'm not going to give you a bunch of excuses. I'm just going to say it's not done yet. But we're going to cut the ribbon anyway in a little bit, let you walk around the building, do what the engineers call a hard hat walk around without the hard hats. But in the end, I think you'll be as impressed as I am. So, a quick briefing on the sequence. We'll pray, pledge, listen to short remarks. Walk to the terminal. We'll walk around this way. Keston will lead us. I'll introduce him here in a little bit. And cut the ribbon, and there's some refreshments inside, self-guided tours. There's signs all over the place, so you should be able to find your way around. Okay. A little bit of history here. 2.5 years ago, we weren't even contemplating building a new terminal. We actually had $100,000 in our budget to renovate the current one that we're in. New ceilings, walls, bathrooms, that sort of thing. But out of nowhere, one of our long-term tenants, Mr. M.L. Becker, via his caretaker, Mr. Tom Smith, offered us a $500,000 donation towards a new terminal building. We then contacted the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission, discovered we were eligible for a $500,000 grant for a new terminal building. So now we're at $1 million, albeit that $500,000 would be 3 years in the future, since there were a couple of airports actually in front of us. But we began the planning anyway, because we could see that we were in the neighborhood of having enough money to do it. We got with our CEC engineering company, our contracted engineer for the airport, asked them to start working the plans. They subbed out a architectural firm, GH2 in Tulsa, and they began the planning together for the new terminal. The idea was to have a plan ready just in case that money came through. Well, as it turned out, the Aeronautics Commission called us that July and said, hey, Stillwater and Lawton have both decided they can't use that money. Are you ready? I went down to the commission the next day and met the board, and they preliminarily awarded us that contract. So that's where it started. As it turned out, we approached Mr. Cooper with the Oklahoma Strategic Military Planning Commission. We were able to get about $400,000 from them for 3 years, specifically for the joint use planning room that you'll see in here in a little bit. We earmarked $250,000 from our FAA funds that we get every year, added that to it along with city money, and with a total project cost of about $2.7 million, that's where the project went. Okay. Let me introduce a few distinguished guests, and please hold your applause till the end. First, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, our very own Senator Jim Inhofe. Now, did you follow directions in school? That's okay. Mayor of the City of Enid, Honorable George Pankonin and his wife Melanie. The finest vice commander that Vance has had for the past 15 years and 11 months, Colonel Jay Johnson. I like that. Chairman of the Oklahoma Strategic Military Planning Commission, Mr. Mike Cooper. Also in the audience, City of Enid Commissioners, Mr. Jerry Allen, Mr. David Mason, Rob Stallings, Jonathan Waddell, and a previous one, Ron Jansen. Our city manager, Mr. Gerald Gilbert, who's running around, I guess, Miss Sue Shale and members of her family. From Vance, Chief Master Sergeant Graziano. Not sure even, okay. Our project engineer, Mr. Austin Burton, and CEC engineering staff. Our architect, Mr. Nathan Buck, and GH2 architectural staff. Program manager for this project, Mr. Dustin Caldwell, and other members of the contractor for this project, RSM Development Incorporation out of Edmond. Field representative for Senator James Langford, Mr. Tanner Roberts. Field representative, nope, he's not here. Our former mayor, Mr. Bill Shuey, and his wife Jana. Manager of the Stillwater Airport, Paul Pringle. My son Mark, his beautiful bride Maggie, and my grandchildren Mary, Claire, Johnny, Andy, all of Tulsa. And my lovely bride Natalia. Yeah, and I would be remiss. Where is he? Is Jim here? Well, Jim Prater is the guy that really pulled this together. He's an RSM employee. He's a superintendent of the project, and he's juggled more balls than I've ever seen anyone do, especially in the last few days. So if you see him out there, go ahead and shake his hand and tell him thanks. He's wearing one of those black shirts. He's kind of a big guy. Is he hiding back here? He is. Stand up, Jim. He didn't want me to introduce him, but he really has pulled this thing together. So I really appreciate it, Jim. It's been great working with you on that. And I'd like to extend a welcome to all our community and business leaders. As a side note, you'll notice the Oklahoma Aeronautics Commission is not represented today. They send their regrets. They're conducting the regular meeting in Oklahoma City. They've played a large part in this, as well as other projects we've done out here. Our runway extension, they helped us with $2.5 million. Our aprons back behind me, $455,000. Our cross runway at $450,000, and then this project at $500,000. Woodring would not be as advanced as it is without their assistance. So I just wanted to throw that out. Okay, now it's time to hear from our guests. First up, a guy who clearly demonstrates that us old guys can drive cool cars. The mayor of the city of Enid, Honorable George Pankonin.
He starts out with saying we're going to make this really brief and points to everybody, and then he goes into a 20-minute, no, I'm just saying. I'll cut my remarks short so that we can get back on track. Good morning. Welcome to all of our local guests, and special welcome to our out-of-town guests joining us today. I'm very excited that Senator Inhofe and other distinguished guests could join us this morning. Enid is the beneficiary of a strategic commitment by many local, state, and national agencies to upgrade our airport. This long-term commitment included construction of the joint use hangar, extension of the runway to 8,000 feet, expansion of the parking apron, as well as the construction of the new terminal that we celebrate today. These significant upgrades benefit us all, the citizens and companies that call Enid their home, our community neighbors to the south at Vance Air Force Base, and the businesses looking to expand to our rapidly growing Enid economy. Along with my welcome remarks this morning, I offer a special thank you to all of Enid's supporters who have made these upgrades possible over the years. In closing, I'll paraphrase the title of a movie starring Robin Williams. Good morning, Enid, Oklahoma! Thank you.
Okay, we missed you. I'm sorry. Yeah. Chad Caldwell. Sorry, we missed you earlier on. Thanks for coming. The next guy, Mike Cooper. He also drives a cool car.
Well, good morning, everyone. Dan and I, we have a pretty good working relationship. I think. I never listened to him. You said keep it short. You're screwed because he's going to go 50 minutes now. So, we kind of agree on some things, but not a lot. First of all, on any of you cell phone owners, you can turn those back on. Hopefully that'll pay for my retirement eventually. So I'm an old bell guy. So turn those on. That's okay. The other thing, my job, coordinating with the state, the community, and the congressional delegation, Senator Inhofe and his folks, is always to work to figure out ways to protect and enhance Vance Air Force Base. Strategically, though, how can we help them increase mission, reduce costs? All the things you see out here at Vance Air, or at Woodring Airport, even though Dan always comes, I don't know how we're going to do it, we don't have money. Don't worry, just start building, I'll find you the money. But so we've always been able to do that, working through Senator Inhofe and our delegation, and of course the governor and the legislature are always behind any of these efforts. Because if you look at the joint use hangar, you know, if we save one plane from damage from hail or whatever, we've paid for that. We extend the runway. It's like having a fourth runway at Vance, and now the activity almost doubled the number of pilots that they're training per year. You know, we have so many military aircraft like you see today. We built the parking apron, and then to make it really like a fourth runway, we build the terminal. They have a debriefing room just like they have at Vance Air Force Base. So far as a community and a state and a congressional delegation, we cannot do anything more than what we are doing to help them increase mission and reduce costs. So I'd just say thank you to all those entities, and particularly, as always, thanks to Senator Inhofe. He's been there with us the entire way. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Next, we have the Vice Commander of the 71st Flying Training Wing, who actually drives a truck, so he's more of an Okie than we are, I guess.
If y'all haven't figured out what my job up here yet is, it's to bring down the average age and the average duration of the speech. So that's my job here real quick. So to all the public officials here, thank you very much for making this happen. You guys know this doesn't happen everywhere, right? This is an anomaly. It does not happen everywhere. All the folks in uniform, we've been doing this a long time. We've been in some fantastic communities, none better than right here, right? This just doesn't happen. And Mike touched on it. This is our fourth runway, right? We have one runway closed down for construction right now. We could not produce the number of pilots we need to produce without this facility. And all I got to do is point to the ramp right now, and there's 2 crews getting ready to step in T1s out there right now. You come here on any given day, there's a Vance tail on this ramp. We could not do it without you. It's about 2 things. It's about capacity and it's about quality, right? The capacity we've talked about. We need the ramp space, we need the runway, we need the instrument work that we do here. And now it's about quality. So we come in and we brief right where you're sitting right now, right? Not the ideal setting for us to come in and brief students and teach them. A lot of distractions in here for them, right? So this new facility, the dedicated classrooms in the facility are a step up for us to help us produce the best pilots in the world. We could not produce the best pilots in the world without support of local community and facilities here like Woodring. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, and finally, the guy that probably outdid all of us because he flew a plane in. So Senator Inhofe, you're on.
Well, just basically, I was talking to, something good is happening other than just what we're here celebrating today. And that is we're back in the military business. We were out of it for 8 years. And these guys back here, I told them, it kind of reminds me, because I'm the only one in this room who's old enough to remember the Carter administration and what we went through at that time when we had a downgrading of the military. And now we've turned that corner. Everything with this, particularly with the budget from last week, great things are going to happen. Now I want to say something about these guys, the foreigners that are here, the engineers and the architects. I was visiting with them back here, and I'm going to tell them something, and some of you are probably aware of this, but they're not. And that is, how many of you here know what a BRAC round is? B-R-A-C. Yeah, it's a base realignment and closing commission. This happens every so often. It's happened 5 times since 1987. And what they do is go in and they evaluate what you're doing in all of these installations around America. And Oklahoma, this is the thing you don't know, Oklahoma is the only state that with each one of the 5 BRAC rounds has actually increased in terms of mission and individuals and cost. So we have done that. So no other area has done. There's no better example than what we're doing here today. I remember the first thing we needed to do is get that runway extended. We did that. Next thing we want to do is make sure that they still have the right chocolate pies when I come up here to visit with them, and they're going to do that. But that is really something, and what it means is it's not what a lot of people think, that it's political support and all that. It is community support. And people say everybody does that. They don't. They don't do that. They don't come up and belly up like you did. The 5 different groups that were on the program that actually came through with $500 million apiece to make this happen. Others don't do that, but we do in Oklahoma, and of all the installations that we have in Oklahoma that does it best, it's right here. So we're carrying on that tradition. Good things are happening. Good things are happening particularly for the military and the future of what we're here about today. Thank you.
Okay, as many of you are aware, we're naming our joint use planning room in remembrance of a fallen comrade, Lieutenant Colonel U.S. Air Force retired Dave Shale. He was killed in a civilian aircraft accident almost 2 years ago. Now, Dave was an icon around here as he owned an aircraft, was an instructor, a member of our aviation advisory board, and he also was a degreed architect and was helping us in the planning of that very terminal over there. We felt it fitting to name something in his honor as he passed. And so we have decided to name the Joint Use Planning Room in his honor. We have a plaque over there that we'll unveil here in a little bit with his family right after we do the ribbon cutting ceremony. I will tell you, we did receive some funds donated in his honor, and we used those to purchase furnishings for that room. So immediately after we cut the ribbon over there, we'll go ahead and the family will go back and we'll unveil the plaque and let everyone walk around the building as you wish.
1, 2, 3.
Enid always comes through. And so that's how you got a terminal, we got a runway extension, and now that's all that does is just ensure to the community that Enid and Vance are here to stay.